Ryuga is easily the most popular character in the entire Metal series. His reverse rotating El Drago quickly became a fan favorite upon its introduction. Ryuga underwent the most character development out of anyone in the show by far, as he transformed from a standard final villain to an anti-hero who ultimately sacrificed himself for our heroes. So with as popular as Ryuga is, you would think his character would have a clear timeline. If he died fighting Nemesis, it should be confirmed, but it isn't. Countless theories suggest Ryuga somehow survived, and some details in the anime even support that claim. So without further ado, did Ryuga survive his final battle with Nemesis, and is he still alive? And just a little side note, I'm specifically talking about the Beyblade anime, because in the manga, Ryuga does survive, but the story is also very different between the manga and the anime. So maybe one day I'll talk about the manga, but for this video, we're strictly talking about the anime because that's where all of the theories come from. So we all remember the iconic scene where Ryuga wakes up after his battle with Nemesis, surrounded by the light blue/white aura, and he ultimately gives Kenta the power of the star fragment that he holds in El Drago, so our heroes can save the day. But in doing this, Ryuga sort of just vanishes. He disappears. Now this is very important, because if his body just stayed there lifeless, well, we'd obviously know he's dead. But since he disappeared, that's what allows a lot of theories to exist. An interesting parallel that I've found is Ryuga disappearing is oddly similar to Jinga's Storm Pegasus disappearing at the end of Season 1, Metal Fusion. The very last episode after Jinga defeats Ryuga, Pegasus just disappears. It could be completely different, but I see some sort of connection there. Ryuga gave all of his energy to Kenta, therefore he disappears. Storm Pegasus used all of his energy in the fight against Ryuga, therefore it disappears. I'm not sure if that answers any of our questions, but it's something cool that I wanted to point out. Another thing we can mention is when Jinga defeated Nemesis in the final episode, Jinga looks up to the sky and feels as if Ryuga is watching. And then we see a picture of Ryuga in the sky. And there is a dragon-shaped cloud as well. So I mean, that could easily be interpreted as, you know, Ryuga's dead and he's watching from the afterlife. He's proud of Jinga. Or it could just be Jinga thinking that Ryuga's dead, because that giant face of Ryuga didn't actually appear in the sky. But the dragon cloud, on the other hand, is a bit troublesome, because that's so symbolic of somebody watching from the afterlife. So I don't know, those pieces of evidence might convince you that Ryuga is dead, but just wait for what I'm about to bring up here. This next piece of evidence comes from the Legacy sequel of the Metal series, Shogun Steel. It's the next generation. All of our favorite characters are now adults, and we actually see a lot of them in this anime. Some of them play huge roles, and others we just see at the very end. Short little one-shot cameos, I guess you could say. We saw the likes of Kiyoya, who has a son. That's crazy. We saw Masamune with Tobi and Zio. We saw Deshayan and Aguma and the rest of Wang Huzhang, who have seemingly reunited Balin Temple with Balin Fist. That's another video. The point is, we saw a lot of people in this series, but we didn't see a physical cameo from Ryuga. I say physical because he was mentioned, specifically when it comes to the character of Sakyo. Sakyo has a reverse rotation dragon Beyblade. So as soon as he was introduced, I mean, it was clear that this guy is the new Ryuga. And on top of this, he flat out just says he inherited his Beyblade from a legendary blader who had a reverse rotation dragon Beyblade. That's only Ryuga. He straight up tells Zero, who inherited his Beyblade from Jinga, don't think you're the only one who received a Beyblade from a legendary blader. I mean, it's as clear as day. How could he have received a Beyblade from Ryuga if Ryuga is dead? Now, I will mention the possibility of Kenta giving Sakyo the Beyblade, because Kenta technically did get Ryuga's power, but it was Ryuga's silhouette that appeared behind Sakyo, not Kenta's. So we're going to stick with the fact that Ryuga gave the Beyblade to Sakyo. Now that we know Ryuga survived, where was he during Shogun Steel? Well, that's one of the easier questions to answer. He was probably just somewhere chilling. We saw after the Dark Nebula had disbanded, in seasons 2 and 3, Ryuga really just traveled alone. We were only given an insight to how he lived because Kenta followed him. And from what we saw, Ryuga is very much kind of a nomad. He just travels around getting stronger. He takes the most difficult paths to increase his strength. That's probably what he was doing during Shogun Steel. And the world is so big that no one ever ran into him. None of the main characters ran into him, I mean. But how do we explain Ryuga disappearing? How could he have given Sakyo the Beyblade if he disappeared after giving Kenta his strength? One theory that I do have also surrounds the manga and the Dragon Clan kind of, but basically in the manga, Ryuga is hundreds of years old. But in the anime, Ryuga's relative in age to Jinga and the others, so like 13 to 16 range. What if that's just a cover? What if Ryuga is hundreds of years old in the anime? So if he's hundreds of years old, it's very possible that he just got reborn. Maybe Ryuga's immortal, and every time he comes close to dying, like after giving Kenta all of his energy and power, the Dragon Emperor gets reborn. I think that might be one of the better theories surrounding how Ryuga disappeared and still survived, because I don't think he can like teleport or anything like that. So I feel like being reborn or maybe even like reincarnation is a better way to explain it. But yeah, that's the way I interpret it. I could be completely wrong, but I do think he did survive. Whether it fits my theory of him being reborn or if it was, by some other means, I do think he survived because he had to give the Beyblade to Sakyo. Let me know any theories y'all may have. I'm thinking of just making a theory video because now I'm really thinking. But yeah, Ryuga's a fan favorite character, and I feel like it's fun and it'd be nice to know what happened to such a popular character. But anyways, that's the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.